like country should be run by women, world should be run by women, because like all these male leaders you'll see, like they have such like fragile ego. I feel like Kashmiris consume a lot and we are not manufacturing things. Yeah, because Kashmir, they're like, what will we tell people? Like, you're doing fine arts. वो क्या होता है? Like,
समझाना मुश्किल है.
Exactly. We had to tackle the challenge of recreating Kashmir in US.
Lovely.
Which is also like, it's like a timepiece. It's not like current times. We don't have art galleries, which is unfortunate. Like Kashmir is like has so much art. In Kashmir, women are expected to be very self-sacrificing. They have to always put family first, other people first.
खुशामदीद लवली पीपल्स, आप देख रहे हैं शी मीन्स बिजनेस और मैं हूँ उमायमा ऋषि. नाजरीन, आज मुझे अपनी गेस्ट से बहुत ही ज़्यादा बोल्ड वाइब आ रही है, because I believe she is someone who proves that dreams don't deserve permission. They deserve a runaway. Why am I saying so? You'll get to know. We have with us today an art director and visual designer, Saima Hussain Mir.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Thank you for coming, Saima ji. Bade asal put, khush put.
Asal put.
So, Saima ji, before we begin, I want to know about you. हम शुरू से शुरू करेंगे आपके बारे में जानते हुए. आप कश्मीर में कहाँ से हैं और तालीम कहाँ से हासिल हुई?
Absolutely. So I'm born and raised in Kashmir. I studied in Presentation Convent for about 14 years. We have that connection. उसके बाद मैं अपने higher education के लिए पुणे गई. I studied in Symbiosis Institute of Design, where I pursued my degree in user experience design and graphic design.
Lovely.
And further after that, I pursued my master's in Atlanta, Georgia, in United States at Savannah College of Art and Design. I got my degree in motion graphics. So that's me professionally right
here.
Yeah.
Okay, but why into designing? वो ये idea कहाँ से आया? Were you always into this बचपन से?
Oh God,
कभी किसी ने बोला नहीं डॉक्टर बनो?
Of course, ये तो tradition, it's a cultural thing. But that's a really good question to ask, because I was always into drawing and painting, like, just like hand-drawn art. Exactly. So that was my, like, if you ask anyone in Conway, they just knew me as like painter, artist. I was that like, student who was always in the back seat, just scribbling while teachers teaching.
Lovely.
Yes. So like, I always knew that was my identity. Like that's how I started, and my teachers were very supportive. Like, I feel like that just made me feel like this is what my unique home. Everyone is like worried about marks and all. मैं कह रही हूँ मुझे बस ये painting complete करनी है. So that's how I started. But then also at the same time, like I'm a lover of, like, how I'll describe myself is like I love art, music, film, and literature. So like, when internet came, this is around like in 2005, 2006, like, that's like when we were like stuck inside. And but I think that was like a great resource, because I started like going to like YouTube was there, and then I started like developing my visual languages. Like I started watching like documentaries, and then I also got into like music videos, especially. I really like the cinematography. Like, for example, like I'll just tell you, like, this is something very personal. Like, I love poetry. Like Kashmir is like, we have such great art. Yeah, exactly. Like, we have that culture there. At a very early age, trying to find like, okay, my taste, like developing in like visuals. And I also felt like I was like an introverted kid. So like, this verbal...
that was your way of expression.
Verbal communication. I had like visual way of communication.
Okay.
So that's how I started with like, watching films and drawing and through poetry and through like, just fashion, like different ways. Yeah.
So you went to Pune for your designing stuff, right?
Yes.
And then you went to US for further studies in this sector, right? How was the experience for you? Do you believe that it has really shaped you and evolved you as a human in that regard?
Absolutely. Like, I feel like I became such a different person here. Like, you know, the culture in Kashmir is like, मतलब हम बहुत overprotective है अपने बच्चों के लिए.
बहुत possessive parents हैं.
Exactly, which is from a place of care, but matlab when you step in the real world, it's a battlefield out there. Matlab, what are we? Like, you know, we are like so sheltered, like they're like, it's a cutthroat like competition out there. Like, you know, world is so competitive right now. So like, you know, exactly. So matlab, like, you know, when I left, like, you know, I was still like, you know, coming out of that like comfort zone, and also at the same time, like, you know, learning more about myself. Like, you know, I felt like I never had that space, because you here like live with like, you know, families, whether it's like we have that culture. But the US mein, you have that at the age of 18 you leave the home and you're very independent, so we don't get to explore ourselves a lot. So I feel like, you know, after the age of 18, like I have to like, you know, I had to develop my own like personality, and also at the same time, like the responsibilities are different. Like you have to take care of yourself, you have to look out for yourself. So that, and also like, you know, when I was in Pune in my college, there was no Kashmiri there. Like they were so intrigued कि
you were the only one?
Exactly. Like, you know, they were like business and mass comm, like they used to like design my Kashmiri. They're like, oh wow, this is like rare. So like, you know, that way I think like, you know, I've had the chance, like, you know, I'm very lucky that way I had great professors, whether that was in my undergraduate college or in my like graduate programs. So like, you know, they were like very nurturing. They saw like, okay, like, you know, my perspective might be a little different from like, you know, I'm not saying like I can exactly understand that. Like, you know, Kashmir mein matlab you have like हमारे कितने सारे handicrafts है, right? Like that's our idea of art. We have like the ये ना खतंबरी होती है, पेपर माशी होता है, टेक्सटाइल होता है, rugged,
very diverse.
Yeah, exactly. So मतलब then you are like translating this, like, you know, you're incorporating these elements in your like work assignments, like, you know, in illustrations, like the digital work you're doing.
Okay.
So like I've always tried to do that. Like, you know, I think it also happens like unconsciously. Like, you know, I just incorporate those cultural like elements somehow. So yeah, it was different. And then like, you know, after going for masters, ab mera ye India mein hi tha ke matlab like, you know, I feel so alienated. Like, you know, I'm in a place where no Kashmiri has stepped before. Then like me going to US for my masters, that was like, you know, I think it was like a blessing, because like, you know, now I had like all these tools and resources I learned, all these softwares, which I had ideas, now I can finally execute. So like, you know, that way I think like, you know, my journey has been pretty interesting.
Lovely. Yeah. And how have you expressed yourself through your art? And also your homeland?
I would say, so like there are certain projects like mostly like self-initiated, which I like. So for example, like I was saying, like I take a lot of inspiration from our culture. For example, like I'll just say like how I evolved as an artist. Like for example, calligraphy, something so simple, right? To design, it evolves to digitally like typography, like, you know, like title sequences you have, then in advertising, like in brands, like you have like how you have the text, like, you know, all those things. And then also apart from that, like I said, like, you know, the traditional motifs, yeah, like paper mache and all those, then making that digitally, like in an illustration, that's also like, you know, just evolving.
How difficult is that to do?
It's not very difficult, I would say, if you have passion. Like I discussed.
मजा आ रहा है तो मुश्किल नहीं लगेगा.
Exactly. So like, you know, I think curiosity is very important. Like you have to be kind of like, you know, interested in it. Otherwise, there's like learning curve to everything, but especially like if you're going from like traditional mediums to like digital mediums, you need to like, you know, actually be passionate about it.
Okay, so I need to know, because like you said, आपको हमेशा से you had that artist in you, right?
Yeah.
But then you went to Pune for your studies, and then you went for US. Were your parents skeptical about this anywhere, or were they supportive?
I think my parents have been extremely supportive, actually. Like throughout my career, like of course they were like, you know, I had to also fight for it in a lot of ways, but like seeing like the culture right now, like how it is, they have been very trusting with me. And
because उस वक्त मतलब मेडिकल और नॉन मेड के अलावा people didn't have a concept कि कुछ किसी और चीज में भी करियर हो सकता है.
Absolutely.
So that is what I'm asking.
Exactly. So my parents always wanted me to be a doctor, but that's also like, they said you are so caring and nurturing and loving. They are like, there's nothing better than serving people, which I completely agree with. Like, saving lives is like
A big
you're
thing.
doing something for the humanity. But then, like, I was like, maybe I won't be as happy. Like, I remember I telling my dad, like, I was like, if I pursue this and like if I fail in this, I can only blame myself. And I'm like, if I pursue something someone else wants me to, like, I might like point fingers later if I'm unhappy. And he was like, oh wow, matlab, I completely
just go for it.
Exactly, like they also had up because it was like completely unexplored. Like
Yes.
exactly.
Some years back, even I would not have a clue that you can have a career in like motion graphics or graphic design.
Exactly. Like see, for me, like I told you, like I started off as an artist, like as a painter or whatever. So matlab यहाँ पे कश्मीर दिया, like what will we tell people? Like, you're doing fine arts, वो क्या होता है? Like
समझाना मुश्किल है यार.
Exactly. Then design was more like digestible. Like they're like, okay, this sounds like a profession, sounds a little fancy. So they like kind of agreed to that, but I'll try to like also like summarize the main difference between like art and design. Like I was telling you earlier, art is like something I feel like is more like a form of self-expression. You're doing it for your own fulfillment, or like, you have something going on. Now, like, okay, like, is it like just like pretty looking drawing of a landscape, or it's a portrait, or is like social narrative, like, something social change, like social reform, any kind of like, art it can be. But design is more like service. Like you have a client coming in, they have their requirements, their needs, their demands. So it's like you're not doing it for yourself, and you're doing it for your client. Like, matlab, certain times you even have to compromise with, okay, I don't like this. Like it doesn't look like visually compelling to me. But you have to do what your client says because they want it. So it's more like about the money aspect of it also.
Okay, so I want to know because, see, I introduced you as an art director and a visual designer. How did you land up in these two professions, and how are you handling and tackling both at the same time?
I would say it's like an intersection. It kind of goes like hand in hand. Like, how, again, it's evolving. You start as something and then you progress and you progress. So, designer is like, you have the tools, you execute, actually, you have an idea. For example, you have a brief or like summarize, okay, you need this logo, maybe you need this branding. You execute it. Art director is more like who's coming up with the idea, like for example, there is a campaign. So okay, what is the idea we are talking about, and then how we deliver, how we communicate it. Like if we are making these visuals, how is the person interpreting it? So it's like more like, team design. As a designer, you can maybe work like individually, like art director, like, you need more team. And then creative director is like you just have the idea and then you have a team for execution. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And then you like I said, like visual design is okay. You work with like certain softwares. For example, if you have like static designs, there's Illustrator, Photoshop. And then like, if it's more dynamic, like, color grading, like editing. So
you are doing that as a freelancer?
Yes, I'm doing that as a freelancer. And I also worked with advertising agencies. And I also briefly worked on like films and advertising. So yes.
So as an art director, you must have your own experiences, your own work, projects.
Yeah.
Tell us something.
Yeah, so I worked on like few like advertising campaigns. But these were like more like independent projects, not with like, in a corporate firm. So it was like, like I told you, I love like music. So I worked with like certain artists like over there. And then also in the film, like production, for example, there are different stages in film. There's pre-production, production, and post-production. So pre-production is like coming up with the initial ideas, how you want the visual language to be, how you want people to look, how they're going to dress up. So those mood boards you come up with. So like, as an art director, you work, that's very fun. Like, you're just ideating. And then, exactly, then there's like production part of it in between, jahan pe aap shoot karte hai. And then like your role on set is, okay, everything is looking good, everything is up to the mark. I also worked as a set decorator. I won't say exactly it's like interior design, but it's like, just developing, making
Things.
something. Yeah, exactly. Like, so that part in production, like, you work hand in hand with like cinematographers, the production, the producer, the director. So, matlab, it's like a teamwork. Like, it's very fun actually. And for me, like, especially, I'll just like tell you, because I was coming from more like designer, like where you have to sit in one place and like, 8-hour proper, like 9 to 5. Then, like, when I worked in like these films and like ads, you're running around. It's so much fun because I got dragged out of which I was doing for 6-7 years. Like, now it's immersive. You have to be present. It's tangible. You can feel things. You have to put like props together. So I found this so much fun. I was like, this is more me than being on laptop and just designing all the time. So that's the production part of it. Like I said, pre-production, production, and then there's post-production. Post-production is like more like working on After Effects, Premiere Pro, DaVinci is for color grading. So that's like the final product. You put everything together. There is where the color grading comes into play.
Making
and
the
then,
final stuff.
Exactly. And then also like the typography part I told you. So just like putting those dynamic, like,
together.
Yeah, exactly.
So any of the memorable projects that you have in your mind?
Oh, a lot actually. So I love like brainstorming, like with creators, just like coming up with the initial ideas. I think that's my favorite part rather than like working alone. So one of the projects like I worked on was like we recreated Kashmir. It was actually a Kashmiri film project. So we had to tackle the challenge of recreating Kashmir in US.
Lovely.
Which is also like, it's like a timepiece. It's not like current times. You had to create like older, like 20-30 decades back. And then also like, the traditional elements you have to introduce. It was very challenging, but it
in
was...
US you had to create that.
Exactly.
Oh my God. How
so like, how you put it together, exactly. Like, you just go to people and then clothes you get, and then these like decoration items you get, the rugs, and then so many different...
Were you able to manage to get the stuff from US only, or did you get it from Kashmir?
From like US, but it was diaspora. Like, you have to like kind of spread your arms, like, okay, I want all those things. But like, that was like very memorable, especially at that time because I was so away from home. And then I have like this something which is very like, personal and special. But also like, there weren't many Kashmiris. So like, just communicating to like, I was very grateful. I had a great production designer like under me who was like, mujhe nahi wo carpentry. Matlab, like, I can't do all those things. They knew how to like, if I want something, I show them a visual reference. They're like, hum bhi kar sakte hain, hum banayenge. So I had a very good team, but then the results, like you can like, look it up on YouTube. It was a great project. So that's very memorable to me. Like I told you, like I love like hip hop. So like, it's Atlanta is like kind of foundation of it. It's the place to be if you love like music. So just like, that's what I miss actually. Like right now I'm here, I'm enjoying where I am. But there I feel like the creative energy was like so heightened. Like you just like get an idea and you hit up people. Like for example, even like fashion designer, like you have a shirt, you hit up your friend, you're like, I want to turn it into something else. Like, everyone is like up and ready, like to collaborate. And these are not people from who are just like, someone might be doing like film, someone is like clothing and all that, and then you come together and you make something, and it's not for money necessarily. It's just like for fun or self-expression. So
just
that's what I wish we had that energy. It's so hard to find like creative spaces here. Like I don't know where to go, in the sense like we don't have like public libraries here like that. We don't have art galleries, which is unfortunate. Like Kashmir is like has so much art, like I mentioned. Like we don't have art galleries to display work. We don't have like public spaces where people can come together and ideate, or even like, you can meet new people all together. And especially there's like most need right now, like phone. Like we have AI slop going on right now, right? Everything is just same. What is the solution to that? Like chuck the phone away, like physical spaces in person, like come together, interact. Like, that is so much needed.
That humanness is gone.
Exactly, that connection that you have, that's needed most right now. But also like, like right now me coming to Kashmir, I just came from West, like especially there right now is everything about like, okay, Bitcoin, AI, money. Like Kashmir hasn't reached that stage of capitalism right now. There's still soul here. There's that slowness. There's no like rat race, which I hope like, there's so much like spirituality in Kashmir, like the harmony amongst different religions. Like I said, literature, poetry,
So that's why you're back.
Exactly. Like when I lose my hope in humanity, I come back home to like reset.
Lovely.
Like okay, there's still like these things, the slowness exists. So like home is home at the end of the day.
Ghar ghar hai.
Exactly.
मोहब्बत वही जो दिल से हो, इबादत वही जो दिल से हो, दुआ वही जो दिल से निकल आए, बात वही जो दिल से कही जाए, दोस्त वही पक्का जो दिल से साथ निभाए, रिश्ता वही बेजोड़ जो दिल से जोड़ा जाए। दिल से ही तो होते हैं इरादे चट्टान से, दिल से ही तो बनते हैं घर खाली मकान से। दिल से बनी हर चीज पुश्तों तक चलती है, इसलिए खाइबर सीमेंट का जर्रा जर्रा दिल से बना है, ताकि आप जो कुछ भी बनाएं दिल से बनाएं। खाइबर सीमेंट, दिल से बनाओ।
So now that you've come back, right? Are you exploring some things over here? You must have found a distinct difference, in, like you said, कि यहाँ बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो है ही नहीं अभी. We are going very slow in those terms. But at the same time, apart from that, because आपने अपनी studies वहाँ pursue की US में, and then you worked over there as well. Professionally, अगर हम यहाँ देखें, because now things are evolving, where do you see, where do we lack?
I feel like Kashmiris consume a lot and we are not manufacturing things. Like, हमें बहुत आदत है to be dependent outside of Kashmir. Like, how many homegrown brands we have, like product, like food, like even something simple as food, or even like clothing. Clothing, not necessarily, I'm saying, like, the factories, like manufacturing over here, not necessarily like traditional wear. But overall, like, there's so much happening in the world right now. Even like, for example, storytelling, like I said, filmmaking here, like our own stories by our people, like where is that happening? Like what is the representation of Kashmiris in Bollywood? Nothing. Like I feel like we have so much, but we're not doing enough as a society. We're not putting our like on international platforms. I always felt like there's such a glimmering hope here. Like, we have so much more. Like Kashmiris are like extremely smart, like, book smart, street smart. I feel like we don't have enough opportunities here, but it's time to create our own opportunities. Like, coming together. That's why community is important. Like, necessarily you can't start something on your own. Then partnership, like, having that person like next to you. I think it's like much needed right now.
Okay. So, Saima, you also, apart from all of this, I'm going to ask you something, because you have a very interesting story apart from your profession.
Yeah.
Okay. Which gained you that social media presence, right?
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
So I'm not an influencer or anything. I never want to. I never. So like that was kind of like it happened. I feel like it was something like God graced me with. I'm not going to reject, like, it happened, but it was kind of unasked for. I was very young. I think I was 21. I was in third year of my college, and in 4 years you get your bachelor's degree. I was head of one of the departments, and then we had like our like the annual college function thing, like the college festival happening. So I was right in the front, and Shah Rukh Khan came for promoting his movie that time. I remember, right? I haven't actually ever spoken about it like this, so it's so funny to me because it's been almost 10 years now. But anyway, so I was just standing there. I had just traveled. I wasn't like kind of refreshed at all. You can see I look like pretty dazed there. So I was just standing in the front, and then everyone is like pretty excited, and he just like looked at me like, and then he just came up and he took a selfie, which was very okay. I was like, okay, fine. I just like, went back home. Then later in the evening, my phone is like bombarding, like with calls and messages. They're like, you're all over internet. I'm like, what do you mean by I'm all over internet? And they're like, Shah Rukh Khan posted a picture with you, and everyone is asking, who's this girl? And these calls, I'm like, it's in news. Like, my parents are like, ye Dubai se rishtedar call kar rahe hai. I don't know why people from Mexico are texting me
God.
and all. It was like kind of like, and I told you, like, till that point, I was pretty introverted. So I had my account like on private and all that. Suddenly, I'm like, receiving like back to back, like flooded with like requests, like 5 like requests, like I was like kind of like overwhelmed. Then there are pros of it, like okay, like kind of I got like visibility, but at the same time there are like now bots, like people are making profiles and like all these fake narratives coming out, and then also like it turned into like Pakistan versus India in comments, like it turned. So I was like, "Ye kya? Matlab, I have no. This is beyond control." I remember then I just gave like one interview with BuzzFeed. Just they summarized like what had happened. After that, like quite a few publications came to me, but I tried to like I didn't like completely like embraced it, because again, like for me that time I was like, "Matlab, this is so surf. Matlab, what do you mean by looks?" Like I really believe it's about what's on the inside rather than on the outside, because like your beauty, like it's God given. It's like it's a gift, but then it's all about how you've built yourself over the years. So I got a little senti that time also. Like I was like, ye kya shakal ke baare mein sab kuch pooch rahe and all that. And that time I got so many offers from like for films and like for modeling and all that. But also we know it's a taboo in Kashmir. Me as a Kashmir, like I wasn't ready to take all those challenges. Like so also I saw myself as more of behind the camera kind of person, because I told you I worked as a cinematographer, editing and all that. So me in front of camera, I was like, nah. So I kind of like, I stepped away. I was like, I need my time alone. Like then I had like stalkers, not even just online, like in person also. Like I had to kind of like, put myself like away. I was just like hiding from the world for a certain amount of time till it like kind of slowed down. But yeah, it was quite an experience. But I just, that time, like the idea of Bollywood and modeling and all that
was different.
Like again, like that's why like I took the hard route. Actually, honestly, like if I was caring about all those things that time, like maybe I could like the pathway, the age I was at, like I could very easily choose that. But I took a harder route because I actually pursued like the art and what I was interested in. I went to like US, where I struggled like 10 times more, and then like
So you choose yourself.
In a way, like yeah, I would say that.
That's lovely. So I want to know, I have a question for you, which is that you've been out of Kashmir, like in India, and then you have moved out of India to US, right? Now that you've come back to home and you're working over here, what difference do you find in the women?
Firstly, I'm not a feminist, but like I have immense respect for women, especially after being here. Like I've been closely like interacting with people and just getting to know their stories. Like after a while, like I've been here for this long. I have like so much respect, because here I see like in Kashmir, women are expected to be very self-sacrificing. They have to always put family first, other people first. So that's like has been our mother's generation, but like quite a few women are changing the narrative now, and they're putting their work, their career first, and still they're being mothers, like
doing everything
running
at the same time.
families. Matlab, they're playing so many roles. Like I'm like, I have so exactly like the cultural pressure they're handling, and I have tremendous respect for women like in Kashmir, but overall also like like me working, I want to see like a lot of female like leaders. I feel like women are so caring, like so motherly. They just have that motherly instinct. Like they always want to like improve things. They want to make things better than they were before. Like rather than destroy, they'll always like build. I'm like, the country should be run by women, world should be run by women, because like all these male leaders you'll see, like they have such like fragile ego. I think women who run like the prime minister, the presidents, like they are running it like so smoothly. It's like actually from a place of care. So just in general, like women rock.
Women rock. Tell me something, because Kashmir mein यहाँ पे एज वी टॉक्ड अबाउट कि यहाँ पे बहुत ना वो एक आप शेल में रहते हो हमेशा से, शाम को आपको पता है आपको घर जाना है, खाना मिलेगा, ठीक है, तो आप हमेशा से वो एक बंद स्पेस में रहे हो, और जब आप मूव आउट करते हो देन आप देखते हो कि दुनिया तो बहुत मुख्तलिफ है एंड आपको बहुत चीज़ें फेस करनी पड़ती हैं, ठीक है। तो जब आप यहाँ से बाहर गई पढ़ाई करने, पुणे गई या यूएस गई, जहाँ भी गई, वो एक ट्रांजिशन आपने महसूस किया होगा खुद में, ऑब्वियसली अप्स एंड डाउन्स भी रहे होंगे. हाउ डिड यू मैनेज दैट? वर यू नॉट एट टाइम्स थिंकिंग आई शुड गो बैक, एंड were there not times when you were like, I want to give up, I just want to go back?
Oh God, yeah, totally. You read me so well. Yes, absolutely, of course. At times, like, you get so frustrated and like, because also you have that, okay, I want to like show off for my parents. Like, we have like, you know, in culture, ki matlab, we have that responsibility towards they're getting old. So yeah, like, you know, I always thought, matlab, I have to like, I want to give up, but I feel like I've taken like quite a few like career breaks. So, like, I've been burnt out at certain points because I went so hard. Like, I didn't like take care of my health like that because I was so ambitious and I wanted to achieve like something I wanted so badly. I've like, now this is something like, you know, I'm coming in terms with myself. Like, there are certain points it's okay to slow down. It's not like you're not like doing as well as maybe you were doing last year, but that like small breaks are so necessary where you like kind of reprioritize like what matters to you. For example, being around family, like, you know, just like coming together, and like, you know, those things are also important. So I think I've given myself those breaks. Like, at one point, I'll tell you, like, when I got done with my degree in Pune, like I told you that like Shah Rukh Khan thing, like things like changed for me overnight. Like, I just had so much pressure of suddenly being someone. Like, I was just like, you know, I'm like very simple, like, you know, I didn't, the fame, like the idea of fame, like it's okay. Like, for me, like impact is more important than fame.
Okay.
So, us time pe, matlab, after that, like my degree got over, all my friends, like, in 2018, 2019, yeah. Like, they applied for corporate jobs and they pursued that. I took a breather. I stepped back. I came to Kashmir. And then after that, I was like, I feel like I need to, like, I'm still kind of like introverted. Like, I want to, like, you know, be alone, like experience like world alone, like outside India.
Okay.
I gave myself a very big challenge. Now I look back, I was like, what was it? Like, you know, I had like such guts. Like, as you get older, I think you get more and more fears because you see more of the world.
Yes.
When you're younger, you don't doubt. Like, you have that, like, you know, you just do fearlessly, like everything. So I just went for my first solo trip, like internationally. I went, like, as much as I love art, I told you, design, music, like, I would say I'm also like, I care a lot. Like, not activism like necessarily, but I just generally care about like people around me a lot. I love, like, I've had like opportunity to be like, you know, lecturer or teacher. Like, I've taught in Kashmir like briefly design, and then like, you know, so during this period when I got done with my degree, I went to Peru, to South America.
Lovely.
To teach English in like local government schools. And it was such an eye-opening experience because firstly, I chose a place where there was language barrier.
Yes.
They don't know English like that. And I couldn't speak in Spanish. I was there for 2 months. So it's like I just picked up on certain words. So like my students, like, you know, I'm teaching them English and they're teaching me like Spanish. It was such an intimate experience. So I was working with the social responsibility department of this like company. So I was again working with just women. So I feel like this was one of the best times because I was like kind of in the environment and doing what I love, like, you know, being a volunteer and like activism work. Like that time I was working with like single mothers there, and like I was doing art therapy with like old people. It was like so many things which were like more than just like I was taking like opposite route of like what everyone around me was doing. So that time, like, you know, the challenges of being in another place and developing trust like towards other people, I learned a lot at that time, just like adapting in a new culture. And like, you know what, overall I've realized like just being in different countries and all that, we're in the times where we need to focus on similarities more than differences. Like there's so much disconnect, and like, you know, right now like everyone, like you see in the world, there's like so many like wars, like so many fights happening. So we're in the time, just like, as much as like, there might be differences, we should be so okay with like being open to like new perspectives. Like even if we not necessarily agree with them, but just being receptive. Okay, like, someone's ideology might be different, but at the same time, you have to find the middle ground to be with them. So like, that's also like something of our culture. Like I told you, there's so much like religious harmony here. Like you will see there's a church, mosque, gurdwara, temple in a
At the same
queue.
time, yeah.
Exactly. So that harmony, like, I was like, I see, like, I wish there was more of that. That's why, like, being home right now, it's just kind of refreshing.
So what are you currently doing?
So currently, I'm, like I told you, like, I've just stepped back from work a little bit, and I'm like reconnecting to the roots. Like right now, I am like freelancing here, and I'm just like seeing like what's happening here. Like just seeing like there are so many upcoming like entrepreneurs. People have started their businesses.
Yes.
So like I'm just like trying to like work with the local people here and see like what's
Lovely.
happening. But also, like I told you, like there's two parts, like design. Okay, there's branding, like corporate development, like ads, like you do social media and all that. Also like art. Like I told you, like I'm going for like photo walks, which I love, just to downtown, capturing all those, like the traditional, like just reconnecting with that right
Lovely.
now. So it's pretty good.
Lovely, and we wish you all the best with
Thank
that.
you so much.
Okay, so before we conclude this artistic conversation, let's move to our rapid fire round.
Oh no, I didn't know about this.
Okay, you didn't see this coming, huh? Coffee or कहवा?
Kehwa, any day.
Sketchbook or laptop?
Sketchbook.
Sketches or water paint?
I think sketches, because I'm bad with water paint.
Okay. Handmade or machine made?
Handmade.
Handmade. One color that represents your personality?
Can it be two, please?
Okay.
I love blue and green, but that's just because you're raised in nature and there's so much like landscape, so those are my favorite colors.
Okay. Biggest risk you have ever taken?
Oh God, I think biggest risk is like me just like stepping out in places like I told you, like where there has been no representation as a Muslim, as a Kashmiri, and just like speaking up for us.
Okay, lovely. Your first start?
Okay, yeah. I actually started working at a very young age. I think in 9th or 10th grade, at the age of 15, 16.
Okay.
3-4 of us like came together and started this event organization company called Loud Beetle.
Okay.
This was in 2014. I think that was like my first gig, like first time I earned money. But more than that, I gave an idea and they executed it. And it was, okay, we're going to get like people from kids from orphanage, and we're going to have art competition. And like, just masses, we just sit together and like make these kids feel special. We did that. Yeah, that was my first gig.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where do you get your inspirations from?
My inspiration? Like I told you, I love like music. I love cultural anthropology, just studying like other cultures. So I think like a lot of inspiration comes from that. And also like I like history, just like going back and just like reintroducing things in a modern way. So I have old soul, I'd say.
Okay, if not a designer, then what?
If not a designer, I would be an architect.
Architect.
Yeah. I love spaces, buildings.
Lovely. Okay, complete the sentence. She means business because?
She means business because I feel like women know how to get things right and they can run things in the correct manner.
Lovely. Nobody said that before. That's all. Saima, it was lovely to have you over here.
Thank you so much for having me.
What an experience. What a lovely chit chat.
Likewise. Like, thank you so much for having me. You guys doing this, like I told you, like, when I saw like women are running this, I was like, I need to be here.
Okay. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Nazreen, ये थी हमारी साइमा हुसैन मीर जी, an art director and an artist herself. So आज की हमारी conversation बहुत मज़ेदार रही, और इस पूरी conversation में बस मेरे जहन में एक बात रही, और वो ये थी कि हम अक्सर अपनी ज़िंदगी के भाग दौड़ में इतने लग जाते हैं कि हम अक्सर भूल जाते हैं कि ठहराव भी बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, और जब ठहराव मिले तो तब जाके हम आप खुद को पहचानेंगे. That's all for today. We are looking out for more women in business out there. Stay tuned, stay updated, and keep watching Kashmir Life.